Ohio State's defense has been playing elite football, not just in the playoff, but in really all season long. But who have been some of the stars on the Buckeyes defense during this playoff run? Mo and I would discuss that next. So, Mo, we talked before the show started, and you and I could have done 30 or 45 minutes just on various guys on the Buckeyes defense about how well they played during this run. I'm going to go on this one first just because I feel like not turning it over to you yet. My first star that comes to this Buckeyes defense is Caleb Downs.
Yeah, you
He's
had
kind of the – I had to.
Yeah.
He's that guy that when you think about when in Little League that you get a guy that's just good and better than everybody else, and the coach is like, I don't know where to put you. I'm going to put you here. Well, just go play football. So hold on. You don't put no defensive end, no linebacker. No. I'm going to put you right here in this spot and just go play football. And that's what Caleb Downs has been doing every single game. He's in that Buckeye uniform. He's just played football, but it's at a level right now, and you're on a massive stage where Buckeyes are getting a lot more eyeballs than they got in the regular season, which is the playoff is going to happen. Man, he's just out there playing football. It's so much fun to watch. I compare him a little bit to Troy Polamalu with the ability to roam around the field. I don't know that's a great player comp. That's not my expertise. But Caleb Downs has just been a dog, man. You pair him with Lathan Ransom, those two guys work so well together. But the star of the defense so far, to me, these first couple of games have been Caleb Downs. He's just been getting the job done.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's like we knew, like, when you speak of stars, you lead with Caleb Downs and then you give flowers to everybody else. And so it's only right for you on your show to give him his flowers. But you're right, though. Like, it's not enough that can be said about Caleb Downs. And it does seem like Jim Knowles has kind of just taken advantage of how much of a playmaker he can be. And he's like, you know what? Like, bro, I'll base this defense around you. Like, just make plays. Like, and you know, I made the analogy before the show that I'm like, he's like Spencer James off of All-American. Like, you just got this feel for the game that nobody else does. And so I trust your instincts. So you let me know what you see, and I'm rocking with you one way or the other. And so, but my other guy, you know, you mentioned Lathan Ransom and how they are as a duo. Tyleik Williams. Like, Tyleik Williams has been a run stuffer. He has been probably the biggest reason why JTT and Jack Sawyer were able to hit so many home runs is for the simple fact that Tyleik Williams has stuffed the middle in this playoff run. These past two games, what he's been able to do to stop the run, what he's been able to do to force Dylan Gabriel or force Nico to have to escape outside while JTT and Jack Sawyer collapsing the outside has been like an underrated thing. And sometimes, you know, those defensive tackles, because statistically they're not, you know, their statistics in the analytics isn't like sexy to everybody. You don't really understand the impact they have, especially when you talk about the flashy edge rushers and the corners that get the interceptions and the Caleb Downses that make all the plays. Like, you get lost in translation. Like, when Tyleik Williams is playing at his best, this defense is playing at their best. And so with him being a game wrecker in the run game and the pass game, being able to break down that pocket and break down the interior of that offensive line and create a lot of one-on-one matchups for our guys that really win the one-on-one matchups 9 times out of 10 and are able to hit home and just be able to collapse pocket. Tyleik Williams, I got to give him his credit because, like, he just looks like a monster in the middle right about now. And he looks like a guy that I don't care right now about the projected top 10 picks, blah, blah, blah. But, like, he looks like one of the 10 best players in college football as far as from a production standpoint. And he looks NFL ready, like just a guy that can stop that in the middle. Sometimes you just can't teach that. And his knack for just being able to find the ball when the running game he doesn't really let too many plays get to the linebacker level. So I love what I'm seeing from Tyleik Williams.
It's crazy you mentioned him because I remember during the Tennessee game, and even after the game, rewatching it, I'm talking to my wife, and I'm like, Tyleik is moving better than he did during the last half of the year. And I don't know if he had an injury that he wasn't able to heal up. I'm not really sure. But there was times you had a defensive end crash down and Tyleik Williams loop around. And these are on design pass plays. And Tyleik is like, oh, I'm going to get on my high horse and get back there to the quarterback. And over and over and over again, his presence was felt while getting pressure on the quarterback. And you discussed so well his ability to just stuff the run. This is what you expect from him. Like, the guys are going to highlight here, and I got another one here coming up in a second. We expect this right now because of what their track record has been and what the film has said about them so far during their Buckeye career. And Tyleik, to me, JT and Jack have gotten a lot of attention. I'm going to turn back over to you before giving my next one. Well, JT and Jack have been kind of getting the attention. They're getting sacks. That shows up in the stat sheet. They're going to get all that praise. Man, Tyleik has just been kind of just that quiet assassin. Y'all can get all the noise. Y'all can hype up the crowds. I'm going to do my job right here in the middle of the stuff, whatever the offense is trying to do. And I like guys like that because he doesn't need the praise. He's just going to get the job done.
Yeah, and guys like Tyleik Williams are guys that have long careers because, like, the football knowers, the ball knowers, the scouts, the people that are really watching the game, not from the fan perspective, but like, and we get caught up in watching these games from the fan perspective. So I'm not saying like, oh, if you don't know football like me, you won't understand. But I'm just saying like, when it doesn't jump out at the stat sheet and it's not the 5-star number one player in the country that's finally breaking out, looking like a superstar, projected first round pick. Like, you don't see the impact, but when you just watch it and you're watching the pocket collapse and you're like, well, the tackle, they had to double down on the inside on Tyleik Williams and it left JTT one-on-one. Quick little swim move, spin move, boom. He's right there at the quarterback and the quarterback's going down and it's less than 3 seconds. Like, they don't have a lot of time back there, but it's because of the attention he's getting in the middle. And so, like you said, I just love the fact that, I mean, we could praise everybody on the defense individually, but everything's clicking at all levels. And so Tyleik Williams probably doesn't get enough love or praise for how well he's played in these 2 games.
I got one more here, and I hope we got enough time for something else. Another question for you. But Cody Simon has been playing the best ball of his Buckeye career. Game after game after game. He's playing like a man possessed. Doesn't matter if it's in coverage or if it's a run play. His instincts have been sharp. He's been able to play well with Sonny Styles. He's been able to read what's coming up pre-snap. So once the ball is snapped, he's right there in the right position. Cody Simon has been basically Jim Knowles on the field, it seems like, and he's been getting the job done consistently. And I think as big of a reason that the Buckeye defense is playing so well, Downs is going to get his praise. Ransom is going to get his praise. Tyleik and JT and Jack, they're going to get theirs. But Cody Simon is a leader of the defense, and they're playing at the same level as their leader, which makes things great for the Buckeyes defense, and it's going to be a nightmare for Texas on Friday night.
Yeah, that was another guy that we talked about before the show. You had mentioned him before the show was Cody Simon and how good he's playing. And like, you know, it's kind of like because the fact that he's been playing so well and it seems like the linebacker core was like the weakness of our defense, but he's been able to kind of mask that. And like I said, I just think as a defensive unit, we've been playing absolutely amazing, I think. But like, he's been the star of the middle of that defense. Like we've got the entire defensive line that we could give praise. We got our secondary, but obviously like Caleb Downs has been anchoring that secondary as far as the star and how good they've been. And Cody Simon has been like the star of the linebacker core and the reason why they're basically playing the way they're playing. And so together it creates a tough unit. And so we always knew we had the talent, but the production wasn't matching the talent all year. I guess we expected a little more from the defense, but now that you're seeing it from the offense, these blowouts, like we've held teams to these type of points that we should have been blowing them out from the jump if our offense was playing the way they've been playing these past 2 games throughout the entire year. Like these scores would have been like a normal thing that you would have seen, and we probably also don't finish the season 10-2. Like the projection of our season probably changes, and maybe we don't come into these playoffs as hungry. So like, you know, just I think everything I think everything comes down to, man, that Michigan loss, as much as it stung, hurt, it might have been the biggest blessing. Like as much of a curse as it was, it still might have been our biggest blessing. It might have woke up a monster in Ohio State, and I think this team and this defense is primed to basically win the national championship.
We touched on guys on every level, from D-line to linebacker to the guys in the secondary. What position group of those 3 has been your favorite to watch so far during the playoff?
The defensive line.
Okay.
Yep. Just because of everything I said, like as far as the home runs, like everything that they're doing, even when you go back and watch the replays, the quarterback's turning over the ball, wide receiver is like a bad pass to a wide receiver, an open wide receiver he may have missed. Like it's all because of the defensive line creating pressure and getting the home run sacks. And so now I make a throw that I wouldn't have made because they're getting their hands on me. They're getting me down. They're getting me down to the ground. And so it just changes me mentally. And so I think the way they've been reckoned as a unit, I don't know if there's been a better unit than them in a stretch of these past 2 games. I don't think anybody's been better than them. And I think that's high praise because like the best defensive line in college football was Tennessee. And we seen kind of what we did to them and kind of neutralize them. And I don't think anybody will be able to neutralize this team on the national championship run.
Last thing here, this is going to be a couple of coaches that I kind of praised on Friday's show for how well they've done. What coach among these two, and it could be either both, you may want to give flowers to both of them, but what coach among these two, Justin Frye or Larry Johnson, has done the best job during the playoffs? I know, it's tough.
Justin Frye.
Okay.
Justin Frye. And I'm going to tell you because, like, the expectation of the offensive line. Wait, hold on. Yeah, because the expectation of the offensive line being depleted, being injured, being like, then we're missing recruits. And throughout this process, like, we're missing out on big-time recruits. These guys are getting injured. The talent, look at, he's been kind of killed for his recruiting. But the way that they've played is like, Will Howard hasn't been on his back. Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson have had holes to make some runs and make some big plays. Will Howard has had plenty of time back there. So I got to give the credit to the offensive line in Justin Frye and the offensive line coach, just because I think, like, with Larry Johnson, I think in the defensive line, like, we've always known that talent was sitting there. Where with the offensive line, we've kind of questioned it. And then with losing pretty much everybody that were big contributors to our offensive line on this run, earlier in the regular season, I think it takes more. Basically, he's done more with less. I got less talent. I'm down to my backups, and pretty much all my entire starting unit is down, and our offensive line has been dominating, as opposed to Larry Johnson. I think, you just got the defensive line to finally play to its full potential.
And I agree with you on both of those. The defensive line on defense has been like the biggest thing for me, with just how consistent they've been, and they've been doing stuff. The talent's been there, but they're finally getting that production, like you said so well. I didn't have high hopes for the O-line in the playoff at all. I didn't. I thought when they told me you're going to rotate at guard and play 3 guards, I was like, oh, this is a disaster. This is what you do when you're a lower level school that literally doesn't have the talent that in Ohio State or in Oregon or fill in the blank elite school out there that they should have. Ohio State's found a formula. As unconventional as it is, they found a formula that works. And Mo, I really enjoy what we're seeing from the O-line. And we get almost about a time. I'll turn it back over to you, though, because I do think it's O-line, with them being able to build momentum and to build a lot of confidence with what they're doing and get practice time together, they might be hitting on all cylinders on Friday night.
Yeah, I think that's the expectation. I think if this offensive line continues to build off the momentum that they got coming into this game, then I think it'll be another dominant performance. And I think as long as Will Howard is not on his back, and I think that'll be based on what offensive line can do that the best. And right now, I think Ohio State's offensive line has been better than Texas. Obviously, because they've just been more dominant. Like, Ohio State has just dominated both of their opponents, while Texas hasn't even shown us enough flashes to really, like, seem like a great team. So, yeah, I think with this offensive line, I expect them to dominate. Like, and I know Colin Simmons, basically the freshman player of the year. And that's a dog down there, and that's one of the best players in the country. And he's like almost a Jeremiah Smith version on defense. I understand that they have that, and it's going to be tough to stop them. But, I mean, Oregon has had that, and their best defensive player came back. Tennessee arguably had the best defensive line throughout the season, and everybody was saying how this beat-up offensive line is going to struggle, and they put them, in their place. So it's like this offensive line has stepped up to the challenge. I don't see Friday being any different. There's nothing about Texas lining up against Texas. There's nothing about them on that defensive line that puts fear in my heart that I don't think Ohio State could do at least as good a job, if not a better job, than they did against Oregon or Tennessee.